Hey, 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 welcome into another episode of Out of Bounds. How is everyone doing on this Friday night as we start to preview now the championship for the NFL and the AFC and NFC championship games. This is Todd Fox along with the other host of the show,
Carlos.
aka
Rick Davis, bitch.
there you go. And then spinning the ones and twos as always, DJ with the hostess and the mostess. It's Walter.
Yar.
There you go. So, we're gonna.
Make sure to subscribe.
There you go. Like and subscribe. That's right. So yeah, we've got all kinds of things to talk about tonight, including we're gonna get into the games that were in the divisional series, and then we're gonna talk about the NFL as a whole for this championship Sunday, which is it's hard to believe we're here, right, Carlos?
Yeah, I remember starting the show off before preseason. We were talking about doing the show, and now we're here. We only got three more games left, and that's the end of the season.
Exactly. So, and then what we're gonna have, we got a lot of plans for next season. So we'll get into that probably for the Super Bowl and talk about that and what we're gonna do moving forward. But before we do, let's start into what happened this past Saturday morning. If you woke up, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in the frigid cold of Missouri. Kansas City would jump out to a nice lead. Trevor Lawrence went 24 of 39, 217 yards passing, a touchdown and interception. Itane had 62 yards on the ground. That was kind of disappointing, but as a team, they rushed for 144, so that's not too bad. But they didn't have a breakout star. Zave Jones was the leading receiver with 83 yards on 5 catches. For the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, he went 22 of 30, 195, 2 touchdowns and no picks. However, he got his ankle rolled really bad. Chad Henne, blast from the pass, came off the bench and threw a key touchdown before the half. And then he had Isaiah Pacheco run for almost 100 yards. That was huge. And Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce things, 14 catches, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Jacksonville made it a little close in the fourth quarter, but overall the Chiefs, I don't think, had this one in doubt at all after in the second half. It was 27-20. Thoughts on this game, man?
I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're on the come up. They're going to be a really good team. They played really good. I thought that the Chiefs tried a little too hard. They were trying too hard to beat a team that shouldn't have been in that position. Watching that game, it looked like Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs should have easily beaten the Jaguars without Patrick Mahomes, and I think that Patrick Mahomes was rushing it, and he knew that the team couldn't do it without him. The team really didn't look that overwhelming to me, man. I know I picked the Chiefs to win last week going into that game. But I was kind of hoping that the Jaguars would win only because I'm tired of the Kansas City Chiefs and the same narrative of this is Patrick Mahomes' league, and the guy just walks around all arrogant, and the guy walks around with this, like, as you call him, the crooked, and the guy that walks around with the crooked run. The guy that sounds like Kermit the Frog. I'm a bit sick and tired of the dude in the NFL already, man. But had the Jacksonville Jaguars beaten the Chiefs, forget about it. The narrative going into this weekend would have been, oh my God, it's the rematch of LSU versus Clemson national title. It would have been Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow, and then that would have gotten played out. Joe Burrow, he's just now getting the spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm already getting kind of tired about hearing him 24/7. But yeah, man, I'm just it's going to be kind of annoying when the Jaguars do arrive and can you say that they arrived?
I think they're early, man. I don't think they're quite there yet, but they're making in some inroads, man. Where they're turning into a team that is going to be dangerous next year. I'd be shocked if they don't win that division next year. The you know, Given the state of that division, so I don't think they've arrived yet. I think that's maybe something for next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC South unless the Houston Texans can like completely rebuild that whole entire roster. But kudos. The Jacksonville Jaguars had that comeback against the LA Chargers, and that was like historic. That's going to go down in the history books. I'm pretty sure there's something in Canton, Ohio, from that game, like some gloves or something from I almost called him Jamar Chase, from Trevor Lawrence. So kudos. They did a lot more than what anybody was expecting them to do. And we'll just see where the Jacksonville Jaguars go and what direction they go in the free agency and in their draft. I mean, what are they really missing on the offensive side unless they're going to build that offensive line because they got a running game and then they got the quarterback, they've got the tight end, Evan Ingram, and then they've got wide receivers along with the guy that they traded for from Atlanta.
Mm.
I can't think of his name right now. I'm always drawing a blank with him. He's the guy that did the gambling against the Atlanta Falcons, and he got suspended for the whole year.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm tripping on his name too.
But they got him, and then they got Christian Kirk, and then they got Zay Jones. Evan Ingram is considered he's supposedly a tight end, but he's really a wide receiver playing tight end. So they got a lot of weapons over there. And then they got Travis Etienne. I
Mhm.
figured out how to say his last name finally. It took me the whole year to figure it out, and I had to listen to his name a million times. It's the letter E-T-N. That's what I call him, Etienne.
I know you're eating eating out,
Yeah,
whatever.
I was calling him Travis E.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going to have a decent team next year, and that defense is really strong. So this could be a start for that franchise down there, and the coaching staff is on point. So all in all, I think they had a really good year, better than anyone expected, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, including for Walter on the ones and twos. I don't think he saw Jacksonville coming up this heavy this year.
No, he was spinning some other shit. That's for sure.
He was grinding your gears some way.
Yeah, he was. So Kansas City moves on. The Chiefs did their thing at home. That'll show that would get us to the evening game, which this game was a severe disappointment. For two teams that know each other pretty good, the third time's a charm. You're thinking this was gonna, like I was hoping for the Giants to pull an upset. I picked them to pull the upset. You and Walter went with the Eagles, and smartly so. This game was over by halftime. The Giants never got anything going. They looked like the Giants from last year. Daniel Jones went 15 to 27, 135 yards, one pick. He was sacked 5 times. Saquon Barkley regressed to 61 yards rushing. Richie James, the well-known Richie James receiver, 7 catches, 51 yards. boy, listen to these receiver names right here. Richie James, let's see, Marcus Johnson, Lawrence Kager, I know Darius Slayton, but Daniel Bellinger and Isaiah Hodgins, man, if that doesn't get you shaking in your boots, I don't know what will. but that's the Giants' stats right there. That he had Jalen Hurts went 16 of 24, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He really didn't have to do much. He didn't even run the ball that much. He only ran for 34 yards. Kenneth Gainwell was rushing for 112 yards. Mike Sanders had 90 yards. So as a team, they rushed for 268. And Devontae Smith led the club with 61 yards through the air. Eagles win easy, 38-7.
Yeah, I don't really got. I mean, I do got some stuff to say about this game. I'm really happy that the Giants got their butts whooped. Especially because after they beat the Vikings, they were in the midfield and they were in the locker rooms. They were doing the gritty. They were getting all cocky, pumping their chests up and all. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I wanted a close game. I wanted a close game up until that game started. I was like, man, you know what? I hope these dudes get blown out. And it felt good watching the Giants get blown out because I felt like they were that was their Super Bowl. That was their Super Bowl, and they were hung over. They put all their all into that game. You could tell because they were so flat. Watching that game, I was like, the Giants just don't got that I don't know what you would call it, that speed, that juice. They didn't have that momentum going into that game. It looked like they were moving in slow motion when the Eagles were moving in fast forward mode. Like it looked like the Eagles were just like 2 steps faster than the Giants. And Giants, after a while, I just gave up on the game, man. I gave up on watching that game. I was like, this is embarrassing. I actually went down to the basement and I did a little workout. And go figure, the Giants score their touchdown, their second touchdown. What I don't even remember what the score was. Their only touchdown. They scored with the one touchdown when I was down there working out in the basement. And I
Mm-hmm.
come back upstairs and it's just a snoozer. I was like, man, I can't wait for this game to be over. And it's hard for me to say because I know once these games are over, it's going to be we're one day closer to the off season, and it's going to be a dread of an off season because the off season always takes forever.
Yeah, it does. And the thing I take out of this one, I was only 31 points off on this one. I thought that, that the Giants are going to win, but the thing I take out of this game is how not the Eagles really didn't look like themselves. Like they didn't look like they were still peaking. Yet they put out a peak performance.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary. That they because I think right now the way the Eagles are built, they're much like the 49ers, except they have a more feared offense. I think their defense is very underrated. And we'll get to that when we preview that championship game. But, dude, I mean, Jalen Hurts didn't look his greatest out there, and he was still manhandling those Giants. So, I mean, they were still moving the ball at ease. And we both know the Giants' defense is pretty darn good.
Well, I think that it came down to this. The Giants, they felt real good about themselves after beating the Minnesota Vikings. But let's be honest, the Vikings defense has been absolutely terrible this whole entire year. When even in the close wins, even wins or losses, they were still giving up a bunch of yards, a bunch of points. It opened up the opportunities for Daniel Jones to light it up, and that's exactly what he did. He took advantage, and hats off to him. You're supposed to do that. And what that did for him going into the game against the Eagles is it pumped up all the Giants fans, and everybody was like, "Oh, the Giants they're gonna do it. Look at how they just performed last week." Not mentioning the 31st ranked pass defense and the worst points total difference in the NFL history and all that. So the Giants, all they were doing, the Vikings, they were just dropping back and cover and prevent defense the entire game. So I mean, go figure, man. It was just easy pickings for the Giants to get through the Vikings. And then they come across a team that actually plays defense. And like you said, Jalen Hurts didn't really play that good. If you've seen A.J. Brown on the sideline, I don't know how much of that game you actually watched, but A.J. Brown was looking absolutely, he just teed off. And then Nick Sirianni came over and he was talking to him and he put his hand on A.J. Brown's head and kind of like patted on it a little bit to make him try and uplift him a little bit. But A.J. Brown wasn't having any of that. He kind of like shrugged it off. He moved away from the hand and he just wanted to get back out there and prove himself to everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see how they draw up the game plan for A.J. Brown going against the 49ers this upcoming week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a trip, dude. And like I said, we're gonna get into that one here pretty soon. And so that ended the Saturday games with the Giants getting blown out. Now throw us over to two intriguing games for Sunday. Cincinnati taking on Buffalo. Obviously, the week 3 thing. We got to talk about the Hamilton sightings and all that craziness here. His clone or whatever. After the game, after we talk about the game, but the game itself was set up to be a barn burner. It was going to go down to the end. And Cincinnati, look, if they make it back to the Super Bowl, whether they win or lose, they're turning into something. This is a very young team. This is a team that's at some point Burrow's going to get a Super Bowl. Even if he doesn't get it this year, this team is going to be good for some time. And Buffalo's been in this position too, where they've been good for a couple years. So it's two teams that mirror each other. The difference in this game to me was the running game. First off, Joe Burrow and the Bengals win 27-10. It's close until, I'd say midway through the third quarter. The Bills they had nothing left. They couldn't do anything. And the Bengals defense was stifling in that snow. They should have, the Bills, that's their weather. And much like when Green Bay gets beat at home by the 49ers routinely, in the snow at Lambeau, that's what happened to Buffalo. So Burrow, 23 of 36, 242, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Mixon, the key, 20 carries, 105 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 5 for 61. He hit 10 different receivers or 9 different receivers and spread it out for 242. Josh Allen, and here's the problem for the Bills, 25 42, 264. He was the leading rusher, 8 for 26. As a team, they only rushed for 64. And then their leading receiver, and this was a problem, Knox, 5 for 55. That's why Stephon Diggs, only getting 4 for 35, stormed out of the locker room, didn't talk to nobody, grabbed all his shit and ran. That could be a holdout situation. He was pissed. Probably he wasn't used good enough or thrown to. He could have been a difference. But let me ask you this, bro, before you give your thoughts on this game. I got to ask, if the Bills traded and got McCaffrey instead of the 49ers, do you think they win this game?
No.
No. Okay. Why is that?
The Bills don't know how to use running backs. They don't know how to use running backs. It's not in their DNA. Josh Allen, he's reckless. I don't see the Bills ever doing anything with a running back. They've got 2 good running backs over there. They've got, well, at least one good running back, James Cook, Dalvin Cook's little brother. He showed signs. He showed signs of that he can be a number one, but they just get away from him. I don't know what it is about the Bills. They just love passing. They're an air raid type of offense. I thought you were going to ask me about Stephon Diggs. I see Stephon Diggs demanding a trade soon? Possibly, because it seems like the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, they're starting to become this one team where they're like really, really good, really, really like MVP caliber quarterback in the regular season, and then when the playoffs come around, they just fall apart. It's just like their slogan or their trademark. Nobody circles the wagons better than the Bills do. Nobody's wheels fall off better than the Buffalo Bills wagon do either. But Stephon Diggs throwing that temper tantrum instantly brought back flashbacks to all Minnesota Vikings fans. And yeah, it was just one of those where like he's going to start showing his true colors because now it's not all like everybody's going to be expecting the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl. Now they got tendencies. Now they're the team that's going to be like basically the choke artist, and Josh Allen is starting to be a turnover machine, and they don't know how to run the ball. Their defense wasn't the same. I don't know what you thought about the Buffalo Bills defense, but I seen the same thing, the same results in the Buffalo Bills defense that I seen in the Giants defense when the Giants played against the Eagles. They just look slower than the Bengals offense. The Bengals look like they were just having their way in, like you said in Buffalo weather, like. But the crazy thing about it is that I looking into that game like about midway to the second quarter, I thought about this. I was like, dude, the Buffalo Bills finally got to that point, and like they finally reached a peak where they were good enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with all that is the Cincinnati Bengals were also building a juggernaut underneath the rug, and nobody was paying attention to it because the spotlight was right there on Kansas City and Buffalo. And when that happened, Cincinnati was in the background. They were just building, and now they got the best. I think they got the best team in the playoffs out of anybody. If you look at their overall offense, they can run the ball. They've got Hayden Hurst at tight end. Even with the banged up offensive line, Joe Burrow's gotten the job done. They got Joe Burrow, and then they got the three wide receivers, Boyd, Higgins, and Chase. Like, forget about it. Those are three number one wide receivers. Like, the Bengals are going to get. They're going to do it this year, man. That's my team right there. I'm riding with the Bengals this year.
I kind of hope so too, man. Like I said before, like I want to see a new team win a Super Bowl, and they'd be a fun team to watch. I love Burrow's confidence. I love the team's chemistry. I like the coaching staff. The coaching staff they're arrogant and they know it, but not in a bad way, and they're still respectful. But they're arrogant because they know they can get the job done. And like you point out, that receiving core is probably the best in football, very underrated. And you could just imagine if he had a decent offensive line, how they'd be just absolutely tearing people apart. And they actually played their butts off. And like you said, they were picking apart that defense. They did look faster. And then Josh Allen, that pass rush for the Bengals is very underrated. He was under pressure the entire game. That one fumble they took back, I thought was a fumble, and then they ruled it incomplete. I'm like, how? Like, it has to be conclusive, and it looked like they knocked the ball out before, he threw his arm forward. So, they got breaks, and they still lost by 17. So
at home.
Yeah, at home.
Like, what was the point in winning home field?
And once again, the NFL gets away from controversy. They got away with it because had the Bills won, we'd be playing in Atlanta on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what they're aiming for. But I'm gonna get back to what you just said about the Bengals. You like them to be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. If the Bengals do win the Super Bowl, dude. If you're not tired, if I don't know what it's gonna take for you to get tired of hearing about Joe Burrow, but bro, I picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl like a few weeks ago. But man, I gotta turn the radio off. Because all they're doing is nonstop. Joe Burrow, he's on TikTok. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, but he's in your backyard though. That's the thing. Like for me, I don't hear too much about Burrow. And to me, for a guy to get annoying is if they win multiple and they're not my team. Like I remember the first year when Brady beat the Rams. I was happy. I was like, hell yeah! I was rooting for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And when they beat the Rams, I was like, cool, all right. But the next time they went back, I was kind of pulling for I think the Panthers were playing them. And I went for the Panthers or the Eagles, because those are teams that hadn't won yet. So like I was switching it up because I start to get tired when the teams win multiple Super Bowls, they keep going. You know what I mean, like that. When they're constantly in, it's like for right now, it's like I'd take the Bengals winning. I'd be very happy for the fan base.
You know what? I thought about it too when I was on my way to work. When I was on my way to work, I thought about bringing this up to you. Like, I'm glad I thought about it again. I think that when it's all said and done, me and you are probably going to end up pulling for the Cincinnati Bengals because one thing that I know about you and you should know about me is that we root for two underdog teams, and the Cincinnati Bengals for the longest have been underdog teams. So I think you're going to say you're starting to show signs that you're going to ride with the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think so too. Geez, I don't know why that popped up right there. Upgrade on the thing. So yeah. I think so too. I think I'm gonna be rooting for the Bengals moving forward myself. It's just gonna be one of those things where hopefully we see a oh yeah, I did pick the wrong one again. What we'll do is we'll finish out this Niner game, and then we'll do another show starting with the predictions.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. So you guys, whoever's tuned in, make sure you guys have your notifications on, and we'll be jumping into the predictions for the championship games, which is happening this Sunday.
Yep.
And also, make sure to like. I'm gonna set a goal. If we can hit one to like that by the end of the thing, no food for life.
Okay, DJ ones and twos. Niners. Yeah, Niners beat the Cowboys 19-12. Dak Prescott 23 of 37, 206, a touchdown and two stupid picks. Ezekiel Elliott, I think he's done, 10 for 26. The big injury was Tony Pollard, 6 for 22. That ankle injury could. We saw what's his name come back from the injury, Mahomes in Kansas City, but not Pollard there. CeeDee Lamb had 10 catches, 117 yards. The Niners look 19-29, 214. Purdy, no touchdowns, no picks. Elijah Mitchell, 14 for 51 on the ground. McCaffrey was shut down at 10-35. George Kittle, only 5 for 95. Two things I'm going to take out of this, bro. Two terrible interceptions by Dak, and then the fact that the Cowboys defense played their ass off. And they should have won this game. Purdy was not Purdy in this game. What are your takeaways from this game?
He was Garbo.
I've always said Brock Purdy's eventually going to get exposed, but Kyle Shanahan does a great job of keeping Purdy from being exposed. But then again, bro, like the Buffalo Bills and Dallas Cowboys got tendencies. They're a team that does really good in the regular season, and then the wheels fall off in the playoffs. It's just something that you're just going to expect from here on out, as long as Josh Allen and Dak Prescott are the quarterbacks for those two franchises. But I don't know, man. The curse for the Buffalo Bills, them going 0-4 for four straight Super Bowl losses. They're a cursed franchise. The Cowboys, until Jerry Jones, I hate to say it, until Jerry Jones passes away, things don't look like they're ever going to change in Dallas. They're always going to have a side pushing like a yes man type of coach, because Jerry Jones wants to be the main man in Dallas. And until Jerry Jones' time on this earth comes to an end, the Dallas Cowboys won't win the Super Bowl. And I hate saying it, but it's the honest truth. And he reminds me of Al Davis, always in the way and never letting the coach be the coach.
Yep. And then he's always hanging over the head. Like, everyone wants to know automatically what he has to think about things. And
he's a distraction.
He is. And McCarthy's got a lot of pressure on him. I mean, people are calling for his head. Dan Quinn, they want to give him a job, but he's, luckily for him and for the Cowboy fans, he's going to stick through for another year. But I thought, man, the Niners did two things that I thought were smart as hell, and this is why I hate my Seahawks when it comes to close games. And I hate the way that they play so passive aggressive. I've never liked Shanahan and his gimmicky plays, because once you can fix, what do you call it? It's hard to stop all the weapons they have now. But prior to this, if you could stop those gimmicky plays, you could stop the Niners. And the Cowboys had for most of the game. The only guy that was getting open was Kittle. But when they had to get it, when there was 2 minutes left, 2:20 exactly, and the Cowboys had all three of their timeouts and the 2-minute warning, the key to the game was the fact that Shanahan didn't say, okay, run up the middle like the Seahawks always do. No, what he did was he had it set up like they were going to run up the middle, and Purdy took the shotgun and went right over the middle to Kittle for a first down. So that eliminated the 2-minute warning timeout. And then the Cowboys quickly on first down, instead of running a predictable up the butt run, they ran a handoff to Samuel, and he took it around the corner for a first down, eliminating the other timeouts. And then by the time Dallas got the ball back, it's like 10 seconds left, dude. So it's like it's the smart thing to do. And those are the plays that can get over a quarterback being pretty mediocre. You have all that other talent around you. You have the defense. All he has to do is just follow or make the right throws, and he's credit to him. He's done that, and then they're calling the right plays on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But, Michael Parsons, he served up a great point. He said that the defense stepped up. Basically, everybody's pointing a finger at Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons. I mean, he has a strong point. I don't know how you feel about it. They only gave up 19 points. So, I mean, the Vikings scored 24 points in the loss of the Giants. So, I mean, I think that should have been a Cowboys win right there. Even with the 2 interceptions, they still had the rest of the game to make up for it. It just goes to show you that Brock Purdy, is he really trustworthy to go forward? Like, I don't know. It's going to be tough to see what he does in Philadelphia, or even if they make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know. We're going to find out. But I don't. It's tough. It's tough to see. It's tough to see that the Dallas Cowboys will ever do anything with Dak Prescott, and then Tony Pollard's going to have a big payday coming. They already paid Ezekiel Elliott, and then they let Amari Cooper go. So it looks like the Cowboys, their window. I want to say their window of winning the championship with this caliber of players is probably really close to closing.
Yeah, it's there. And then the fact that I want to say about Dak real quick is he really, to me, he had the worst throw of all time. Like, I felt when he threw that pass in the first quarter that luckily Dallas's defense only gave up 3 points to. I don't even throw that in high school, dude. The defender was already breaking on the ball before he threw it. So I was like, what the hell was he looking at? So it was weird, man. That was a terrible start for the Cowboys, and they were lucky to only get away with 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Go ahead.
We'll see how much longer they got. I mean, they just signed Dak Prescott to a hefty deal. They signed Ezekiel Elliott to a nice hefty deal. Now, what are they going to do with wide receivers? Did they sign T.Y. Hilton? That just goes to show you how much they actually trust C.D. Lamb as their number one.
Mm-hmm.
So things are going to get real interesting and juicy in the offseason for the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, who both got eliminated. Who do you think is going to make better moves in the offseason? The Giants? Who do you trust more, the Giants or the Cowboys?
I think the Giants.
Now they got an interest. I know that we're coming down to 2.5 minutes. So we can talk about the Giants in the offseason. What do you think they're going to do? Because I agree with you on that one. They got an interesting scenario playing out in front of them. If you were the GM, I'm not sure who the GM for the Giants is, or Brian DeBoer, who would you rather franchise tag, Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley?
Barkley at this point. I think Jones, you can get a quarterback comparable to him unless you really want to run that Buffalo Bills type offense because he seems to fit that mold. But overall, he's not a quarterback that's going to blow you away. I think the Giants need to upgrade the receivers and their quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Go ahead, Walter. I think he had something to say.
For me, I really thought that because the Cowboys threw a touchdown, I really thought, this is going to be the end of the 49ers. That touchdown is going to be the end. Once Dak Prescott kept throwing interceptions, it was like, we're good.
Same old, right, Walt?
Yeah, and then their kicker made only 2 but missed. He missed 3 extra points. 4 extra points. Right there. That should be automatically fired.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I missed on the point of him getting that kick blocked, and then they kept saying that it was going to be a missed kick when the 49ers blocked that first extra point, and the way the ball was projected to go, it wasn't going to go straight. He had some curve to it. It was going straight to the left, so they were going to miss that one anyways.
Right there, that's a sell right there. They should not have him no more.
He was going to shank it.
Yeah, that's another one that they've got to worry about is a kicker. Man, you don't understand how hard it is to find a good, reliable kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the Vikings fans. Ask us. Ask me. When's the last time we had a reliable kicker in Minnesota? It's one of the toughest things to find. I think it's tougher to find a franchise kicker than like an actual reliable kicker than it is a franchise quarterback.
Exactly. Oh, real quick before we get out of here, we're gonna do the prediction show for the championship series here coming up in a couple minutes. The chair says you have to pay Barkley and tag Jones. So.
Yeah, it makes me
That's gonna be tough, man. That's gonna be tough. We can talk about that in the next show.
All right, well, let's jump on the next one. We're going to bounce out of this stream and start another one.
Peace. That was a great.
Damn it, dude. Like, I forgot again to do that